Biocosmist Immortalist greetings to you, friends and comrades. This is your comrade communicator, coming to you from, well, I'd rather not say. Today, I want to speak with you about something that has come up over and over again in my discussions with some of you in person, with many of you on the Facebook page. It is the question, the very burning question, of what we call the transhumanist primitivist synthesis. It sounds counterintuitive at first, but it is both a very human way in which transhumanism can work. It's really the only way that transhumanism will work out for some people, given what our predilections are. And it is really the only way that primitivism can work out in a humane and ethical manner. Now, humane and ethical aside, there is the obvious path to a Posadist primitivist synthesis, and that is through what we, in our last program, discussed as the socialism of the inevitable, the post-apocalyptic path to revolution. Which is to say, picking up where capitalism left off after it destroys itself in the nuclear war, the environmental collapse, something that we must prepare for. But what I really want to speak with you about today, the real transhumanist primitivist synthesis, is what comes after the space comrades come and bring with them the communism of the impossible, a social system that is more or less like a reverse neutron bomb, wiping away all of the aspects of our world that make our lives miserable, that make us sick, that make us mad, that drive all the joy out of living our lives, and leave the human beings intact to live on in the better world after. The communism of the impossible, friends and comrades, is what we're all dreaming of. It is what we're all striving for as we prepare for the socialism of the inevitable, as we prepare, if it should come to that, to build socialism in the aftermath. Now, consider this. The space comrades will bring with them vast scientific resources, bioengineering and nanotechnology, as we could only imagine in our most unbelievable science fiction visions. On the one hand, there is Posadist's own supposition that after the revolution, after communism establishes itself, humanity will subsist without food. It will subsist on sunlight and minerals directly. We will be photosynthetic lithivores. On the other hand is the possibility of engineering the biome itself so that it can hold the whole lot of us, hairless apes, in a deindustrialized state. Imagine this garden earth, friends and comrades, and I will take you there if only you are willing to open your mind's eye. This is a vision that came to me and that I typed up and posted on the Facebook page as a response to an image I posted, specifically to post this as a response to. It was a screen cap of a Twitter thread, a series of tweets, friends and comrades, on the question of what will your role be after the revolution. And these terrestrialists, these Twitter terrestrialists, they imagine themselves to be prison guards, cops, bosses. These are the limits of the terrestrialist imagination, but we can imagine so much more because we can see into the future rather than simply scrambling for the past in the midst of a present that we can only experience but cannot understand. That is the terrestrialist mindset, friends and comrades. A mindset that cannot comprehend the fourth dimension, much less the fifth. And here, friends and comrades, is a vision of a very real future that will explain somewhat the primitivist-transhumanist synthesis that we envision. Now is the time to open your mind's eye and enter into the mind of the being, to see through the eyes of the being that your comrade communicator becomes after the revolution, long after the revolution. I am hurtling through the ocean sea, and the warm late August waters feel delicious against my skin. My sonar sense tells me that I am just within sight of the shore now, so I surface and send out a great satisfying blast from my blowhole. I can't see and hear them just yet, but I know that the villagers are cheering. And as I approach the tree-lined coast in a slow and stately manner, I hear them blowing the conch shells in the distance. Soon I hear the villagers chanting one of my names, Leviathan, Leviathan, Leviathan! I see them now, their colorful diaphanous robes, their elaborate woven crowns, their flower garlands, their beautifully painted faces. I am relieved to see that I am once again being received as an old friend and an honored guest rather than as a god. Though, as I beach myself and allow the children to paint me, I look past the elders laying the traditional offerings of guest friendship before me for a moment to notice the fear and hatred in the faces of those few hanging back from the ceremony. It would seem that some of them now regard me as a demon, a tempter, a serpent in their garden. Only one of the villagers who had come of age since my last visit is wearing the white robes of a pilgrim. I am pleased to see that it is Sativa, my dear departed comrade Adam's youngest great-great-great-granddaughter. Adam lived a long and eventful life, and finally returned to the soil at the portentous age of 120. We had always held very similar ideals in our hearts, and though he was always far better at living by those ideals than I was, it was one of our rare divergences, one of our rare disagreements that determined our lives after the world started to become this new and wonderful thing. And here was his youngest great-great-great-granddaughter climbing into my open jaws. The mouth behind my mouth dilates for her, and she enters a comfortable little cabin. As I speak to her without words, I tell her about the wonders that she will soon see beneath the ocean waves, and she tells me that she has already made friends with some sea comrades who hunt and play in these waters. I tell her about what she will see in deep space and on the worlds. She tells me that she has never seen a space comrade, but that she has dreamt of meeting one for as long as she can remember. I tell her about the apotheosis and the infinite dimensions of sensation and experience that it opens for a being. But I can immediately tell that my new friend Sativa takes after Adam, my dear comrade of blessed memory. She will want to return to her village after her adventure, and one day she will want to return to the soil of her garden earth. And I do not begrudge her life, nor her death. I am simply glad to have made a new friend. And this, friends and comrades, this is a vision of the future, of the communism of the impossible, of different ways of living side by side in harmony and comradely friendship. And with that I leave you, as always, friends and comrades. Long live Posadist! Long live Comrade High Commander!